and welcome to another edition of We Stream, the official reaction channel of epic rap battles of history. If you're new to the channel, I am a musician, I make my own content, you should check it out.
I can see the way you despise, I can see the red in your eyes, I can see the truth that you rise, won't believe a word in your lies. Watch out, the time is running out now.
Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Let's get to 30,000 subscribers before the end of the week so I can release the Al Capone Blackbeard reaction. And that's the plug. So, today we're checking out Frank Sinatra versus Freddie Mercury. This is a breakdown, not a reaction at all, because this is a battle that memory loss has not taken from me. I know this battle very, very, very well. This isn't one I was going to touch on for a while, but when you drop a $50 super chat in the premiere chat and request it, well kids, that's a pretty good way to get me to do something. Now, I've always said I will never guarantee a bribe working, but you have pretty good odds, if it's a good bribe, to get me to do something that you want me to do. So thank you very much for the stupidly generous donation. So here we are. Now, this battle has always been one that has befuddled me a bit in their portrayal of Frank Sinatra. And it's always been a love and hate relationship that I've had with this battle because of it. I adore Frank Sinatra and Freddie Mercury both for their music and the type of characters or real life people. I call real life people characters a lot if they have big personalities. The type of folks that they were in real life as well. It's made the way that they kind of chose to do this battle a little odd for me, and I'll get into more detail about that as we go. So let's start to watch it, let's break it down, and have a good time.
Frank Sinatra! Was it?
What's wrong with your face, baby? Yikes! With those teeth, would you throw them in no dust left to bite?
Alright, now obviously they have the beat, which is a shout out to Queen. So, first thing Freddie does is attack first thing Sinatra does is attack Freddie Mercury's teeth.
What's wrong with your face, baby? Yikes! With those teeth, would you throw them in no dust left?
No dust left to bite, because the Queen has a famous song, another one, Bites the Dust. So he's saying with those big teeth, there'll be no dust to bite.
Left to bite? Christ, newsflash, kid. This is show business. Show some class when you dress. Shave that bush off your lips.
These are the kind of disses I appreciate from Frank Sinatra, because they're ones that I could see more realistically him doing. He doesn't like that Freddie Mercury is disheveled in his look, because he was always, like me, nice suit. He liked the bow tie usually though. So he's like, shave the mustache, wear some nice clothes. This is show business. You should look presentable. That's something I could get behind. The attack on the mustache, I'm not so sure that I support. And that's going to get into kind of one of the themes of this breakdown that's going to be about what I find odd about the portrayal of Frank Sinatra is, in Sinatra's day, a mustache would have been a good signal for you're gay.
I think it's gay.
It's not gay, Brian. If I'm gay, then Freddie Mercury was gay.
Freddie Mercury, the lead singer of Queen? He was incredibly gay.
He was not. He had a mustache, which is practically like a wedding ring.
And I guess in some parts of the world still today, a mustache is pretty popular in the gay community. So Sinatra wouldn't really have taken issue with that based on Sinatra's life, and we'll get into more detail later.
Whoa. Your band's name Queen, huh? Ain't that sweet? You dance like you rode a bicycle race with no seat.
So again, he's going at more gay jokes. Queen as in like a queen, drag queen. So he's making fun of the band being named that. Bicycle Race is a song by Queen. And so he's saying that you look like you rode a bicycle with no seat because Freddie Mercury was bisexual. So it would make sense that, bicycle, no seat, butt stuff. But again, it doesn't make sense that of all the things Sinatra could attack, that he would attack Freddie Mercury's bisexuality. That doesn't really fit in line with Sinatra's character in real life. Like I said, I liked where he started with making fun of the way that Freddie Mercury dressed and presented himself. But this whole, anti-gay rant, it doesn't fit. It's one of the reasons that this has been a battle that I'm like, I don't know when I'm going to talk about this battle, because I love it and I don't at the same time. So let's keep going.
That's what's wrong with you people. You'll do anything to get famous. You changed your name to Mercury. You should have been Freddie Uranus.
And so there he goes again. You people. I don't see Frank Sinatra as a you people kind of guy. And then he says it should have been Freddie Uranus, because Mercury is a planet, right? So Uranus, because butt stuff. So again, Frank Sinatra was very, very ahead of his time. And they do a nod to that in Frank's second verse. He was very against things like segregation. He wouldn't play at clubs that had any sort of racial or discriminating undertones. He just ignored them. He was a very progressive dude, especially for his day. So I just never understood that these would be the blows. I'm like, I get the insults are there. Great. I'm not saying they're bad disses. It just doesn't make sense from who they're coming from. So it's always been a weird thing for me. I like the disses, don't get me wrong. I'm like, why would Sinatra say that? There's so much else that Sinatra could say.
You think I haven't heard those things before? You're just a bully who's too scared to go to war.
That's a good way to start by Freddie. So, you're just a bully who's too scared to go to war. Sinatra definitely ducked the draft. There's good evidence that he paid to make sure he wouldn't have to get drafted into the war. Like anyone else who's famous or whatever, feeling above it or cowardice or whatever. So it's a good way to start.
Got a hit song called My Way, but someone else wrote it. You're the least talented rat in your whole pack of brothers.
Alright, so Frank Sinatra rolled with a group called the Rat Pack. One of the members of the Rat Pack was a bisexual black man. So again, come on, he wouldn't be the guy throwing that kind of shade. Anyway, but he's saying you're the least talented rat in the whole pack of rodents. And also, Frank Sinatra has a very famous song called My Way, and he didn't write it because, a lot of talented singers don't write their own material, but Freddie Mercury did, so good little diss there.
My way, but someone else wrote it. You're the least talented rat in your whole pack of brothers. You got more notes in your whole range. You can't act and you can dance.
Okay, that diss is just inaccurate. That's annoyed me from Freddie. So again, this is my love-hate relationship with this battle. I don't know the research or the type of disses. It's an older battle by ERB, so we have to keep that in mind, but there's just a lot that doesn't add up. So this whole thing, you can't act, you can't dance. Sinatra was not a bad actor. He won, I think, at least one Academy Award. And a 4-note range is more of a throw to the fact that Freddie Mercury has a 4-octave range. So it would be a cool little jab. You have 4 notes, I have 4 octaves. But Sinatra had at least a 3-octave range himself. So it's not like he couldn't sing. I don't know.
Talented rat in your whole pack of brothers. You got more notes in your whole range. You can't act and you can dance. I'm more powerful than you when I'm wearing women's pants.
I'd love that line just because it's a good reversal of Sinatra coming at him for his style. He's like, I have more power than you wearing women's pants. It's a solid diss. It's one of my favorite.
In your whole range, you can't act and you can dance. I'm more powerful than you when I'm wearing women's pants. Why do you stand there in a suit? It's like you're trying to bowl. When I rock the UK, South America gets horny. Because
all right, so we'll get back to the key. He has a lot of the crescendo notes here, and we'll let those play out in a second. So this whole thing about he makes fun of the suit, saying it's boring. That's why he has the better flair and style. And then he talks about when he rocks the UK, South America gets horny.
The suit is like you're trying to bowl. When I rock the UK, South America gets...
And I think that's a throw to the idea that I think Queen was one of the first bands to really have huge concerts in South America. I'm pretty sure that's what that's about. And it's probably a dick joke as well.
Because my songs have balls. They're the anthems of victory. Your music is like the soundtrack to a victory.
All right, so his songs have balls, anthems of victory, because, the Queen has a lot of those anthem-like songs. Freddie Mercury was a big fan of that kind of stuff. He also liked doing movie songs. That were like the Flash Gordon thing was one of his favorite things that he ever did. And then he's saying Frank Sinatra's boring again. It's like the soundtrack to a vasectomy, so it's got no girth, it's got no meat to it. Is what he's saying here. So again, Freddie's verse I like a lot more because the insults really fall more in line with what Freddie Mercury might say. Whereas Frank Sinatra's just seemed kind of random as far as who Frank Sinatra was as a person. But Freddie Mercury's verse makes sense because he was very much musically minded, so it would make sense that he would go for musical jabs against Frank Sinatra. Say, your music's boring, your music's old, your style's boring, your style's old, I'm more talented. His disses make more sense in line with his character, which is why I've usually favored Freddie Mercury in this battle over Frank Sinatra.
The pocket of the mafia and everybody knows. Giddy Dago. Giddy Dago. Giddy Dago. Figaro.
All right, let's break this one down because I think this is one that a lot of people miss when they see this battle. So obviously you have the Bohemian Rhapsody visual and musical sound, but let's kind of break down where this is getting from. So Pocket of the Mafia, that's a whatever. There's a lot of indication that Frank Sinatra might have been involved in the mafia. He's an Italian guy, which is what leads to this.
Of the mafia and everybody knows.
So, Guinea Dago. These are two very rude insults against an Italian person. That's what this refrain is using Bohemian Rhapsody, and instead of going Galileo, we're doing two essentially slurs against Italian people. Just in case you didn't know what this is.
Giddy Dago. Giddy Dago.
And that's why Sinatra goes, Guinea Dago, like what you just say?
Easy jaws of life, I can't stand the racing.
Alright, so now what's weird again is Sinatra's second verse is pretty much him talking about the fact that everything he portrayed in his first verse isn't accurate to who he is. So it's really weird. But he says he can't stand a racist because he's basically talking about the remarks that Freddie just said, which are, I don't know if you could be racist against an Italian. That's not really a race, but you get it. I guess it would be more prejudice than racism. But anyway, he's saying he can't stand a racist, so he's like saying, easy there, jaws of life. That's another tooth joke, because, the jaws of life to break someone out of a car.
Giddy Dago. Giddy Dago. Figaro. Easy jaws of life, I can't stand the racist. I love the colors and the quiz. Just ask Sammy Davis.
And so they're doing this throwaway. Like, I love the colors and the queers. Just ask Sammy Davis. So Sammy Davis is the bisexual black man I was talking about who was a part of the Rat Pack. But even the way they do it here really makes it seem like Sinatra is one of those guys who, if you run into today, says, what, I have a gay friend, but they're totally like anti-gay and they're just kind of saying that to say it. But that doesn't really fit Frank Sinatra, because in his day, to take a stand saying I support the rights of black people and I'm against segregation, like, to say those things wasn't a throwaway easy thing like it is today. That was taking a firm stance that was not cool. So you wouldn't have a guy just be like, oh yeah, I've got a gay friend, because that would give you no status or power. So this idea that Sinatra was actually, this closed-minded bad dude who just happened to have a black gay friend or a black bisexual friend just doesn't fit anything that I have come to understand about who Frank Sinatra was. So again, the portrayal of the character in this battle has always confused me.
Of life, I can't stand the racist. I love the colors and the quiz. Just ask Sammy Davis. Look, we all want to swing, baby, but you took it too far. You played butthole roulette, and you lost the draw.
Now, that bar I've always liked. I've always thought that would fit in Frank Sinatra as a person, because he might think someone like Freddie Mercury is just too much. He's like, look, he's like, we all want to swing, we all got our own things, but you are too much. You're going too crazy, you're having too many partners, the butthole roulette, you lost the draw, you got AIDS. That makes sense, especially like 1950s progressive versus today. But the rest of it doesn't. Like, just having one line that makes sense in character doesn't really fix everything else that's happened in this battle. But still, the disses aren't bad. They're a little repetitious from Sinatra side and a little out of character, but they're okay. So let's continue.
To swing, baby, but you took it too far. You played butthole roulette, and you lost the draw.
And you lost the draw. I think that's another song reference.
I took one for both teams from a disease no one knew existed.
He took one for both teams because he's bi. For disease no one knew existed because HIV/AIDS was not that known when Freddie got it and died from it. He's one of the things. He's one of the people that brought that disease to the limelight and let people know it was a thing.
I didn't leave a mark on history, I French kissed it.
I mean, that's just a Freddie thing to say, right?
Teams from a disease no one knew existed. I didn't leave a mark on history, I French kissed it. I'm a champion of the world, extinguished in its pride. So kiss my ass, Frankie, but you'll have to wait in line.
I love that. So, extinguished his prime. He died in his 40s, I think. He still had a lot of good music to make. Had that not happened, kiss my ass, you'll have to wait in line because, you know, everyone wants a piece of that ass, is what he's saying. Really fun portrayal of Freddie Mercury. So again, me in this battle, we have a very odd relationship.
Who won? Who's there? You decide!
It's also just interesting of their battles. They usually aren't so tilted towards one character. Like, this is so clearly tilted towards Freddie Mercury. The beat favors Freddie Mercury. All the stylistic changes were stuff that Queen would do, including the ending. Usually they have a mix of like both characters as far as like the cool stylistic things. This is all Freddie Mercury. So Freddie Mercury clearly wins the battle, but it's set up that way so much. So I don't know if like maybe Lloyd and Peter just don't like Frank Sinatra for one reason or another, and that's why this battle came out the way it did. I don't know. I would have actually liked to hear like both of them do kind of little singing things, because Frank Sinatra has a very signature sound. I would have liked to see that incorporated into the rapping as well. So I don't know. Clearly, I think that Frank was more mishandled than Freddie in this. I think Freddie has done pretty well. I don't think Frank Sinatra was completely mishandled. I just think it's a rare, like, off the mark from reality, as much reality as ERB brings to the table for me. So it's always been a weird battle in my head. But it's one that I've watched a lot of times, so clearly I come back to it and I enjoy it. But since we're doing like a breakdown, I thought I'd let my feelings be known. I don't think there's anything at the end here. Nope. Because this is an old one. It was before they had their Patreon reel and everything. Alright, so Freddie Mercury wins that battle every time I watched it. This is kind of a different take on it because it wasn't really a reaction at all. So there was no moments of coolness for me. It's just breaking it down. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully this was $50 well wasted for the Super Chat supporter asking for this one. If you like this video, I've got a lot of other stuff like it on my channel. Please subscribe. I would like to get to 30,000 by the end of this week and release the ERB that I April Fools trolled everyone on, because we were supposed to be at 30,000 at the start of April. Now it's 30,000 at the end. Why does everyone hate me? Probably because I hate you all. So I guess it's mutual, so we're all good. Anyway, until next time, I scheme, you scheme, we all scheme for ice cream. Bye!